Hiya, so this is just my new thing which I'm doing, which is just some easy equine anatomy, helpful hints, and we're going to talk about the pelvis, where the spinal cord ends, how I check a pelvis and what's important and what's to look for. So when we look at the pelvis, often we get the horse to stand straight, so sorry, he's just had his body work, so he's nice and relaxed. When we're looking at the pelvis, we want the limbs, want the horse to be as square as possible, and there's 3 points I look at. So I want to be looking at the tuber coxae, I want to be looking at the tuber sacral, and then if you want to come round you'll be able to see, and then I want to be looking at the tuber ischium. So think of it like this: tuber sacral, tuber coxae, tuber ischium. And then when the horse is stood square, might be coming to the front again, sorry. I'm going to stand to the side to be safe, and I'm going to run my fingers over to the tuber coxae here. And I'm going to check them. I'm not going to press on them because it can be quite sensitive, to make sure they're near symmetrical as possible. There'll always be a slight little discrepancy because the right hind has a different way of moving from the left hind. That's probably why humans' right hips are always operated on first. But we want to be checking here to make sure it's level this way, and also it's not like this, because we have a rotation and then we have a shear. We also have the tuber sacral, which you can see here. Snowy's is nice and level, but sometimes you will see that as well. And then I run my fingers down the back, check the bony points here with the tuber ischium, and you can see his are pretty straight as well. So these 3 points, if someone is talking to you about a pelvic rotation or a shear or anything like that, they've usually checked them 3 points. Now, when we look at the spinal cord of the horse, it actually finishes around S2, and it's called the filum terminus or terminus filium. In any anatomy, there's never one word for something, and that's like a thick cord, and then it comes down into the cauda equina, which is the Latin name for horse's tail. And this will all fill out all like this, and it will also go down to the tail. So the tail, like a lot of people think when the tail's off to one side, oh, it's just an SI issue. But remember, there's connections from the tail right up through to the longissimus. So often maybe this is why your therapist, you may see them pull on the tail, because what they're doing is they're helping the spine and the muscles all the way up through here. So there is connections. So I see a lot of horses that do have non-symmetrical pelvises. Usually young horses, it happens quite early on. Overwork can do it. You see a lot in race horses, but the biggest majority I see is slips and falls with young horses, where they go down. And also the other way I look, you might as well come to his head, and I'll go down here, is I will stand at the head and I will look down, and I don't want to see one of these poking out to the side, because that can often sort of say, so we have one here and one going like this. That can also mean there is something going on, and usually then I think the horse has had a fall and sort of bounced off here. So if your young horse has a really bad slip or a fall, it's always worth to get a vet to come out, check it, but then don't just think the horse is okay, recheck it maybe a couple of weeks later, make sure that this pelvis is all nice and level, and if not, get your body worker in, because we can do a lot more with it at young age than if we come to it 5 or 10 years later. And that's all the pelvis. Bye!